everyone, in this video we will take a closer look at the basic slip knot used to start a knitting or a crochet work. So to tie the slip knot, we use the short end of the yarn that we place on the hand, hold in place with the little finger, wrap around the fingers and hold in place with the thumb, and use the crochet to catch the upper yarn through the loop and bring it through the loop and tighten the knot around the crochet. So the slip knot tightens when you pull on the yarn ball side of the yarn, loosens when you pull on the short side, and so yarn ball side tightens it. And to remove the knot, just take away the crochet and pull on both ends of the yarn and the slip knot will disappear. This basic slip knot can also be used when starting a knitting. So it works the same, but we leave a bit more yarn in the beginning before tying the knot. Otherwise, the knot itself is exactly the same. Hold it in place with the little finger, wrap around the fingers and hold in place with the thumb, and use the needles to catch the upper yarn and bring it through the loop and tighten around the needles. And the slip knot works exactly the same. When you pull on the short end, it loosens and tightens when you pull on the yarn ball side of the yarn. So we left much more yarn in the beginning, and we also used 2 needles to tie the knot instead of just one. So both have a reason. So let's make a few stitches so you can see why we did that. So first with both needles, and then we'll make a few stitches with only one needle. So here you can see the stitches with 2, and then we remove one and make a few more with just one needle. So the first thing that you can notice is that the yarn we left in the beginning has reduced quite a lot because it was used up by the stitches. And the second thing is that you can notice the tension is very different in the stitches we made with 2 needles compared to the ones we made with just one, and that will impact on the first row of the knitting. Now let's see what happens if we switch the sides of the yarn. So instead of using the yarn ball to wrap the yarn around the fingers, we use the short end. So we'll use a blue yarn and the beige yarn to try the two and see the differences. With the blue yarn, we'll do what we did previously, so use the yarn ball side of the yarn to wrap around the fingers and use the crochet to create the loop. And with the beige yarn, we will do the opposite, so we will use the short end to wrap around the fingers and create the loop, and otherwise it's the same knot. So the first difference we can notice is that the yarn that regulates the tension in the loop is not the same. So for the blue yarn, it's the yarn ball side that loosens and tightens the loop, and for the beige yarn it's the opposite, so it's the short end that loosens and tightens the loop. The first thing that will have an impact on is the first stitch of a chain stitch. So with the blue yarn it will not be an issue because the yarn ball side is the one that regulates, so you can easily loosen the loop to create the first stitch. But with the beige yarn, because the short end is the one that loosens and tightens the loop, when you do a chain stitch, we hold that end with the finger, with the thumb and the forefinger, so it tends to tighten the loop when you try to do the first stitch of a chain stitch, and it makes it much harder. The beige yarn can be used for a different start, so instead of using the loop as the first stitch of a chain stitch, we use it as the base for a first row of single crochet stitches. So we loosen it and then make the stitches inside the loop. And once we have enough stitches, we can just tighten the loop by pulling on the short end, and that can be used to start a spiral start or a round start in crochet. Now let's try it with the blue yarn. So it's not gonna work, but let's try it anyways so we can see what the issue is. So same way, we loosen the loop a bit and do single crochet stitches inside the loop, and the issue is that the yarn side that that regulated the tension in the original loop was the yarn ball side, so the short end is stuck in the knot, so you can't tighten the loop by pulling on the short end, so you end up with a very loose loop and stitches in it, so you can't really make the same start as with the beige yarn. And as usual in crochet, to undo everything, you just pull on the yarn and everything comes undone. So both ways to do the knot are useful, but not for the same type of projects. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section.